It's about time we talked about how to optimize your account. Let's go! What's up, guys? MtgJedi here. How you doing today? I spent a considerable amount of time prepping this video, so shout out to all my like button pressers. I appreciate you guys. And I'm wearing my sweet Into the AM shirt, so if you want to check that out, that link is in the description as well. But today we're talking about the Hell Hades optimizer. I've received a number of requests for this video, and that's a good indicator of some content that people want to see on the channel. And I think that this is one of the best ways to help yourself. You know, I do takeovers all the time on stream where I'm on people's accounts, and lately I've started using the optimizer to try to locate some of the good builds on people's accounts. One of the things that I do when I'm doing takeovers is bring the magic for rolling gear. Oh, dude, here we go. First triple roll of the day. I'm so good, chat. This is why he hired me right here. Alright. One more. Boom! But I know that not everybody has the Jedi magic when it comes to rolling gear. So today what I want to talk about is how do you use the optimizer and how is that going to help you? Like, what is that going to do for your account? Now, we're going to be using my account for this demo. You need to go do this on your account or hire me to hop on your account and do it for you. Otherwise, I have to use my account, you know what I'm saying? So, what are we going to do? How are we going to do it? Let's go break it down. If you prefer a text version of this, I did put this up on my website over here under the articles section on how to optimize and the breakdown of all that. The links will be there, all of that stuff. So if you need to follow this process, just head over there, click on the article, and all of the links are there for you. So the very first thing that you need to do is set up your account. And then you need to download and run the installer. And it's recommended to run it as administrator. And then you're going to get the extractor, okay? Once you have the extractor ready to go, you're going to hit this upload to website button. Now, you want to be assured that this is free, okay? There are so many misconceptions about this because you can pay a lot of money here. This is a paid service, but it doesn't have to be. And in addition to that, like right now in the game where we have the free regear going on, they do a really awesome thing and run every feature for free during this free gear removal. So you can use all of the features, and to be honest, like, the free features are good enough. That is definitely good enough for you. So over here, when you're on the website, you are going to be coming to this screen once you hit that upload to website button. So once you're on this screen, that's where our tutorial begins today. Now, if you need help other than that, outside of that, I recommend that you look at the optimizer article here and how to do, you know, the setup and all that stuff. They have an article on their website. I recommend using that. So, now that we're here, this is what the focus of the video is today. And you want to also note this menu over here. You're most of the time, I think, going to be on this champion screen. If you have done this correctly, your champions should show up here. You know, my brand new Empress. And so one of the things that we want to look at today, this is my Empress build that I was showing on stream the other day. And we want to look and see how much better can the optimizer make it? Now, I have claimed to people some of the time that I can compete with the optimizer in terms of builds. Maybe that will be another video in the future. But for now, let's just look at how to use this, okay? So, once you're here, you have everything loaded. Behind me is going to be this optimize button down here. Optimize. Now, when you go and you click that, it is going to give you options. Most of the time, what I do is the balanced mode or the damage mode. Now, I am not a, absolute expert here. I'm still using this and learning some things about it. So if I can do a better job, please let me know. But for the damage mode, one of the things that you want to consider is the stats that you want. And you have to have like a goal in mind when you're going to come and use the optimizer. One of the main goals, one of the main thoughts, plans, if you will, is what speed do you need your champion to be at? For me, I need him to be over 250 speed. I do. And I need over 250 crit damage. Now, additionally, when you're doing a damage build, I have found it helpful to put the set in that you want to use. So let's say that we want to keep a 6-piece Merciless like the build that I have. I have put the stats in that I am looking for. And then, am I hiding it? No. Okay, good. I'm going to hit the Optimize button. Over here, then you hit Start. And this is going to start bringing up your builds. Let me pause the video. Okay, I don't even need to pause. It was that quick. If I shift this over just a little bit, now you can see this View as List button. That's what I do. And then I tend to pause this. It will keep going while it's paused. And then you can start looking at these builds. Okay? So, what have I done here? I have to, whenever you're going to be doing this, you also want raid open, and you want to be on the screen of the champion in question. So I'm going to navigate over here to Empress, and I still have that open. It's just hiding behind me here. Once you do that, it's going to have this equip in-game button, which is insane. That is so good. So then, once I click that, I now have this showing. And I have lost a considerable amount of speed, actually. And I have gained damage. You can see a lot more HP, a lot more crit damage, but I have lost speed in order to do that. Surprisingly, these gloves are not being used on my account right now. It's probably because they don't have speed on them. Now, I don't know that I'm willing to compromise my Terrace's build here or my Rhodos's build. And so what you can do there is, let's put this back on screen. What I do in that case is I go ahead and I lock these two builds. Then I am going to go and click stop, click clear, and click start again. And now I have all my same settings, but I'm not going to be pulling those pieces of gear. I'm just going to be looking at new builds. And now all of a sudden I'm taking two Savage pieces over here, which I just would never do, okay? Personally, I would never do. And that is one of the reasons why building for yourself is great. And whenever you're doing these optimizer builds, you need to think about what you're doing. Because you don't want a 2-piece Savage set in your Merciless build. You want your Savage set to go with your Savage set. But for example, this pair of boots over here is also not a good one. You would not want lethal boots in your Merciless build. Even though they're amazing, you just wouldn't want that. So then what you would do is you would come and look at some of the other builds, okay? You would come and look at some of the other builds, you would find one that you like, etc. Now, it seems like my Savage gear is very good. So, I know this to be true. I know this to be true. So, if I was going to, maybe I would come over here and find Savage. Let's see. Savage. And then optimize again. Because the Savage seems like I have the better of the builds in that set. And let's see what is the case here. I'm going to have 251 speed. Let's view this one. So if I was to go equip this in game, then let's compare what's going on with both of those. So that would be going down a lot of speed still. 317 crit damage and 95k HP. I actually really love that. I'm going to save that. That seems like a very good option. But now what I want to do is I want to see if I can push the envelope, right? I want to see what my account is really capable of. Stop, clear, stats. Let's change this to 300. And you need to sort of manually decide that. And the only way you're going to know is if you try. So whenever you are thinking about your builds, you're like, just think about like, what is a crazy thing that I could do? Like, what is my account possible for? And this is like the damage builds. So we're going to go over a support build here in a second as well. So make sure you stick around for that. I'm going to just pause this and let's see the comparison. So I still have Savage selected. Okay. So if I have Savage selected, then this would put me 300, 261, 77. Very comparable build to where I'm at, but you can see we're utilizing a 3-piece protection set. And that's just not something that you would ever think to do, you know? Now, I do have some other protection rings. So, for example, if we rolled an HP ring, then we could try to see if that's going to be better. It is actually way better. So, this is attack, defense, attack. Okay, so if I was going to do that, I would use this ring. Certainly, but this ring also sucked. That was a terrible roll. Whenever you're going to use an optimizer build, please think about, number one, who you're stealing gear from, and actually look at the gear to see if it makes sense. Like the Savage sets in the Merciless build is a good example. Or stealing some of your best protection gear on your account. Is that a good idea? Stealing gear from 3 champions that you use a lot, maybe even 4 champions you use a lot. Is that something you want to disrupt your account for? Okay? Now, it seems like I haven't found a build that I like better than this build unless I was going to slow him down. But if I was going to slow him down, I would probably want Savage and Stone Skin. So let me see if I can find that build, and then we'll move on to the support builds. Okay, so I've added my Savage first, then my Stone Skin second. Under stats, I've reduced this speed to 250 because I feel like that's reasonable. You decide what's reasonable for your account, and then I'm going to go optimize it. Okay, perfect. So here's the Savage and Stone Skin build. Still pulling gear from some of my best champions. But if I wanted to go Stone Skin for Empress, I feel like this would be a really good option. And it's got room for upgrades. You know, I only have a 3% glyph here. I only have a 5 glyph here, which is probably fine. Over here, again, another 3 glyph. Over here, on the chest, I could flip this resistance in order to be HP percent. Over here, that's looking good. And then on the accessories, I have no glyphs here. I have no ascension here. On this, I have no glyph here. So there's even more potential in this build than what I am, showing on here. I could even improve it more. And this is one of the things that I've been trying to decide with Empress is how fast do I want him, and do I want him in Stone Skin or not? So that's a really good build that I'm going to save and consider messing up those other builds in order to use. I kind of really like these gloves for Georgid. They have a big attack percentage here. But, if I really needed them, I would definitely put them on Empress. Okay, let's start talking about another champion. And I want to use the Arbiter from the thumbnail. Arbiter, or whoever you want to be your fastest champion, what I've found is the vast majority of the time, players do not know what their fastest build is. And I always compliment those who find their fastest build. For example, 353 is a really common amount of speed to have on your fastest champion. But that doesn't mean it's actually your fastest build. Number one, most players don't put their pinpoint gear on for some reason. If you have a two-piece pinpoint set, that's a very easy way to add speed to your champions. A lot of times, people do not have their fastest banner on because they're going for some other stat other than just speed. Most of the time, unless it's a high accuracy champion like Armand's or Yamiko, something like that, you just put your best speed banner on your best speed champion. And then last but not least, use the optimizer to find your fastest build. Okay, I've done all of those same steps. I went to my champions, I found my Arbiter, I clicked on Optimize, and now I'm going to go to the balanced mode. In the balanced mode, I'm going to put in the stats that I want with how important they are. For me, I want to put in the speed that's on my champion already. And that's going to be the minimum speed that it's going to pull. If you can find a faster version, then it's going to do that. Then I'm going to hit Optimize. I'm going to let it start pulling. I already know I have a lot faster builds on my account. Okay? If I was going to put my best gear on Arbiter, this is what it would look like, okay? It's going to give me a considerable amount more speed, 394 instead of 353. And in this build, I'm pulling a two-piece speed set, two offset pieces, the pinpoint I mentioned, a different banner, which has more speed, but is resistance, like I said. And then a two-piece feral set, just because these pieces are insane. 24 and 25 as the base speeds, okay? And then you can glyph more, all right? One of the things you want to look for and pay attention to is, do I have a really fast piece of gear, but it's not showing as my fastest because it's unglyphed? So there's a lot of other settings that you can mess with in the optimizer. Glyphs or no glyphs is one of them, and that's something that you want to keep in mind when you're in this process. So, would I go equip this? No, I definitely would not. I don't want to move my fastest gear from MtgJedi over to Arbiter. I like my fast gear on MtgJedi. In addition to that, I have the speed fast gear on our base because I pick her in Live Arena way more than Arbiter. I don't ever pick Arbiter if I'm being honest. So that's the basics of the optimizer, and I hope that this is helpful to you. Let me know in the comments what you think about all of this, and what else can I tell you about the optimizer that's going to help you. I know that maybe you wanted to know about, like, maybe like the team builds, the team optimizer, the artifacts. Those are some really common things that you're going to do on here as well. But for today, we're just focusing on champions and building one champion using the optimizer. So that'll do it for me here today. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.